If there is ever any question that art has the power to transform and translate, I don't think there can be any doubt after that. Welcome to the 6th annual Juneteenth celebration here at the Nelson-Atkins Museum of Art. My name is Stephanie Fox Knapp. I'm the Samuel Soslin Curator of American Art here at the museum, and I'm so glad to see all of you here. It's been so long, it's been 2 long years since we've been commemorating Juneteenth virtually, so to have you here today at the museum means a great deal. The Nelson-Atkins is honored to be a part of and support Kansas City's multiple Juneteenth commemorations, including Juneteenth KC that's celebrated at 18th and Vine next week. There are many people always to acknowledge on an occasion like this, and the museum wishes to extend its deepest gratitude to Makita Peterson, Juneteenth KC Director, and Sunny Joy Thompson-Ruffin, textile artist, activist, advocate, mentor, and friend to many. And we thank them both for their tremendous guidance and ongoing support and friendship. We would also like to thank J.E. Dunn Construction Company and honorary committee chairs Sharon and John Hoffman for their generous support of Juneteenth here at the Nelson-Atkins, as well as all of you, our members, and the volunteers that are necessary to make this happen. And of course, making this year's in-person Juneteenth extra special, we are so thrilled and honored that Miss Juneteenth 2020 is here with her court in the center section. Thank you so much for being here. So the performance of Breathing Room Evocation, led by the artist Shinique Smith, and also featuring the considerable talents of Camry, Ivory, and Kat Mahari, is an extension of an earlier iteration of Shinique Smith's film, Breathing Room. And that film is an essential part of her new body of work called Stargazers, that's currently on view at the Nerman Museum through the end of July, and I hope all of you will have a chance to see it. So before I turn over everything to my colleague, Karen E. Griffin, who will facilitate a brief Q&A, I wanted to share that this powerful performance of Breathing Room Evocation is the result of a momentous first-time collaboration between Juneteenth KC and 3 area museums: the Kemper Museum of Contemporary Art, the Nerman Museum, the Nelson-Atkins, and of course, Shinique Smith. Kansas City was honored to have Ms. Smith's presence here with us back in 2018 during Open Spaces, and many of you, I'm sure, remember her work in 30 Americans, the presentation of that incredible show here in 2019. And we are just thrilled to welcome her back to Kansas City and very much hope that this relationship between you, Ms. Smith, and this great city of art, Kansas City, will be one that continues for years to come. And now I would like to welcome Karen E. Griffin, Manager of Community Events, to the stage, to the front of the stage, to lead a brief Q&A, and I'm happy to run the mic, so just raise your hands and we'll get all of your questions answered. But Ms. Smith, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor.
Again, thank you all so much. My name is Karen E. Griffin, and I am honored to be your host today in honor of Juneteenth and our ancestors. But before we go into the Q&A, can I get everyone to inhale for me? Now exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. And the reason why I'm asking you to do that, because when you're ready to ask your question, I want you to be able to exhale what your question is going to be for Miss Shinique. So is there anyone who has an open question first for her? Her progress?
Good. No questions?
No questions?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Concerns? Complaints?
It looked like we got, okay.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Smith, for your performance. Would you please tell us a little bit about the indigo and the fabric? Do you dye it, and what's the significance of the indigo in your artwork? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Indigo has a rich history culturally across the globe: Africa, Japan, Indonesia, India. It was and remains a cash crop, and that came up alongside cotton here in the U.S. And I was first into it because of denim's multi-use in U.S. culture. Everybody rocks their jeans in different ways, and that was the first level of my interest in it. And as I started to use denim more, I started to research indigo and its history. And as we were talking about last night, the fact that links of, not only was it cultivated on plantations in South Carolina, but it was also traded for lives, that measures of the cloth could be traded in exchange to purchase a slave. And as I found out things like that, I started to lengthen pay more attention to how long the fabrics were. And prior to that history, it has been and remains a sacred color, and was worn in different ways in Africa prior to that. So that's part of the significance of why I use indigo. I've always thought it was a celestial color, and have been delving deeper into blue as I move along. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so I was kind of curious what motivated or inspired the different breathing patterns, or was that supposed to have significance to, I guess, each character's story or pathway, and I guess them coming together again, and you notice the change in their breath tones and kind of a strengthening, I guess, between the three?
There are three basic breaths that I use for the breathing room piece. One where you're palpitating your abdomen. Another that comes from the back of your throat. And then in a strong exhale. And with that, different people breathe differently, depending on their lungs, their experience, and what they're experiencing within. And for this piece, each of us has our own experience of the world, of the color, of our history. And so there were a few sections that we marked off, and then the rest is improvised. So every time it's different. And I like to work that way because it's fleeting. This is one moment in time that we've shared. It won't be the same again. And working that way gives us the freedom to be imperfect, so that we're not trying to be good, per se, because it's not a scripted performance in that way. It is a ritual that we're sharing together of release. So the difference in the characters is the difference in who we are. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, there's
In
one
the
in the
back.
back.
Hi, Ms. Smith.
Hi.
Thank you so much for sharing your art with us. I'm curious to know, how did you come up with the multimedia part of your art? How did you go about selecting the photos or videos that you showed us today? And do they remain the same as you, let's say, present this at a future time?
Great question. I appreciate this. This is the first time that I've performed in this type of setting. Usually it's a more intimate space, a gallery, an art gallery space. So it gave us the capability of projecting and using light in a different way. And when I was putting together the clips, it was originally going to be more fabric and more clips from the performance, but in the recent weeks and years, there's a buildup of pain, of things that have occurred, violence that's occurred, and I felt like at the time, and I spoke of it with the other performers, I could not inject some of the imagery from things that have happened. And since I wanted to engage mourning sounds, make this more of a lament, it made sense. And I edited out faces. I didn't want to have so many faces. I felt that was intrusive and distracting. And so I kept to monuments and memorials, because I think that in my work I am creating odes to things, and those are kind of prayers to things, and they relate more to my work and more to the piece. And when each time I perform this, it evolves with different people, and I may use projection again, I may not. It may be the only time. So, and if I do use it again, it will shift according to where we are, where I am when we perform it. Thanks for that question.
And one more back here.
Okay.
I have two questions. One is, do you travel with this performance to other places other
No.
than Kansas City?
No, this is
No?
it right now.
Ah,
This is it. It was special. I have a show up at the Nerman, which is one of my favorite shows that I've ever made. If you get a chance to go, I would appreciate it. And there's a film there that I made earlier this year with some other performers that expresses some of the same concepts in different ways. And this is the first time that the Nerman and Kemper and Nelson-Atkins have collaborated on an event. So it's nice to spread out. The institutions share an audience, and I hope they continue to do it more. So I did a talk at the Kemper last night, and this is the one-off performance. So we're not on tour.
that's too bad, because it's very powerful.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
My other question was, I noticed that the performers are females, and did you intend
Yes.
to concentrate on the female experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I've wanted to work with women in this, sort of holding the space of priestesses kind of in a temple vibe. At least that's what I thought. And over time, I've worked with different people from different backgrounds. And when I performed it in 2020 in Baltimore, where I grew up, I've been very particular to cast other Black women with me, because we have a shared experience of the world, and it was something I wanted to explore, that kind of collaboration, and evolve things together in that way. So I've thought about adding men because it was very difficult to cast for this. And I'm very grateful for new friends who could recommend these two amazing women who I don't know if they ran away. Are you guys still in the wings? Yeah, they ran away. Guys. Come down here. This is Kat Mahari and Camry Ivory. So, very grateful. Thank you all for coming. Oh, one more question.
I'm just building on the performers. You moved so beautifully with them, and they with you. And I'm curious how, and it feels very improvisational at the same time, very intentional. I'm curious how you communicate with them through the performance, kind of building on each other and responding to each other. If you could say something about that.
Well, there were a couple of pictures, sections that we had to work with, and we had the fabric, and through it we communicated through breath and energy. And the fabric is a little translucent; we can see a little bit, but it's feel. And so when you work with improv, rehearsals are part of that, where you start to vibe together, you get used to each other's bodies and where they fall, and when you rehearse a lot, you don't even think about where you are, where they are, you're just doing it. And differently every time, but similar. So we vibed off of each other's breath and energy. So thanks for that question. Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Miss Juneteenth, for coming. Congratulations. Thanks to everybody who supported the piece.
Thank you all again. Please.